We have all been there. You know that moment.
Oh,
You're
absolutely.
in a meeting, you're mentally cruising, you think you're totally safe, and then bam, you're blindsided.
Someone calls your name out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that pivot? Or tell us about the key 3 projections.
And your heart just sinks.
It's that sudden, spontaneous pressure. You have zero script, and you just feel that adrenaline spike. You stammer, get lost.
And then you spend the rest of the day replaying that cringeworthy response in your head.
It's so stressful. You know, a formal presentation is hard, but that spontaneous stuff, the Q&A, the impromptu feedback, that can feel even harder. There's just no runway.
Right. We freeze up because our brain registers that sudden spotlight as a performance threat.
Okay, so let's unpack this because we took a deep dive into the work of communication expert Matt Abrahams. And his strategies promise to, well, fundamentally change how we navigate those moments. Our mission today is to distill the core of his insights so you can become instantly calmer, more articulate.
And the central insight here, which is so liberating, is that being quick on your feet isn't some natural talent.
Right, it's not something you're born with.
Not at all. It is a highly teachable skill. Abrahams argues that mastery rests on 6 simple steps: taming anxiety, celebrating mediocrity, reframing priorities, listening deeper, structuring your spontaneity, and sharpening your focus.
It's a system then. Mindset first, then tactics.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You can't put a clear thought into a panicked mind. So let's start with that first big one. Taming the anxiety beast. Or, as the source material puts it, speaking up without freaking out.
The first non-negotiable step is to completely reframe the scenario.
How so?
You have to stop viewing it as a performance, or a test, or some kind of jousting contest where the audience is trying to find flaws in what you're saying.
Which is what it feels like.
It does. But you have to reframe it as a low-stakes conversation, just a conversation. When you shift your mindset from I'm performing to I'm connecting, you immediately dial down the pressure.
That's a powerful internal shift. From judgment to connection. But what about the physical side? The shaky legs, the heart pounding.
Yeah.
That's a real physiological response.
It is. It's your fight or flight kicking in.
Yeah.
You manage it first by just recognizing it.
You mean just notice it?
Acknowledge it. Greet your anxiety. A simple internal phrase like, "This is me being nervous." That short circuits the panic loop. You're telling your brain, this is a normal response, which takes away its power.
And what about the verbal runaway train? The part that starts catastrophizing about what's going to happen next.
You have to drag your focus back to the present moment. And the source material has a great little trick for this.
Okay.
Keep a tongue twister handy. Saying something like red leather, yellow leather internally forces your cognitive focus onto the task of articulation. You're basically hijacking your brain to bypass the panic.
I love that. Using concentration as a weapon against worry. What about the physical tactics, the body language that gives you away?
Absolutely. 2 main areas here: voice support and energy release. For your voice, which tends to get quiet when you're nervous,
Yeah, it shrinks.
you have to breathe deeply from your lower belly. Practice inhaling for a count of 3, then exhaling for a count of 3. That deep breath supports your voice and stops it from fading out.
Okay. And the twitching, the visible shakiness.
That's where you use the secret squeeze trick. It's an internal energy release.
A secret squeeze.
If your hands or legs are shaking, you channel that energy inward. You can, secretly squeeze your toes in your shoes, or just lightly press your thumb and pointer finger together.
And nobody sees it.
Nobody sees it, but it redirects that excess energy and eliminates the visible shaking.
So smart. And what about your stance if you're standing up?
You want to be balanced. Feet forward, knees slightly bent, and one foot just an inch or so ahead of the other. It stops you from doing that nervous swaying.
Right.
And if you're worried about flushing or sweating, just hold a cold bottle of water. It can help regulate your temperature. And finally, your gestures. Gesture broad and forward, like you're reaching out for a handshake. That openness just naturally communicates confidence, even if you don't feel it.
So we've calmed the body, we've redirected the physical stuff. Now we hit the mind again with a concept that I found really, well, counterintuitive.
Let me guess. Dare to be dull.
Celebrating mediocrity, yes. Dare to be dull. We're always told to aim for perfection. Why is this different?
Because in spontaneous speaking, perfection is the enemy. It's an illusion that just freezes you up. The principle is simply, good enough is great.
So you just lower the bar for yourself.
You get out of your own way. If you're constantly trying to find the perfect word or the wittiest phrase before you even open your mouth, the moment will pass you by. You're aiming for a good first draft, not a polished final thesis.
But hold on, if the advice is to dare to be dull, doesn't that risk you sounding, I don't know, unprepared?
That's a great question, and it's a crucial distinction. We're daring to be dull in our delivery, not in our content. The dullness applies to the pressure to be flawless or witty on the fly. You're giving yourself permission to make mistakes. The material calls them mistakes, which I love. It's about being functional, not fantastical.
Mistakes. I like that. It reframes failure immediately, and that pairs with another piece of advice. Don't just do something. Stand there.
The strategic pause. Yes. When you're put on the spot, the impulse is to fill the silence immediately.
Right, you feel awkward.
But the advice is to slow down. Take that breath we talked about
Yeah.
and just listen, even for a second. That pause gives you crucial processing time.
And once we've paused and processed, then it's about being concise.
Exactly. Conciseness is everything. It respects the audience's attention. Think about Steve Jobs introducing the iPod. He didn't list a bunch of tech specs.
He said, 1,000 songs in your pocket.
One clear, memorable message. That's the goal. Deliver the core idea, not every single tangent.
And that conciseness is the perfect bridge to our next big topic, which is structure. Because you can't be brief and clear without some kind of roadmap.
Precisely. For spontaneous communication, structure isn't a restriction. It's freedom.
It sets you free.
It really does. It's a roadmap for you when your mind is racing. And it's a roadmap for your audience, which helps them remember what you said.
So let's get into the tools. The sources highlight one framework that seems to apply to almost everything.
That would be the simple but incredibly powerful three-part structure. What? So what? Now what?
WSWNW.
Yep. It forces you to cover all the bases instantly.
Okay, let's do an example. Say I'm in a meeting and someone asks me for a quick project update. How do I use that?
You start with the what. Just state the fact. For example, we finalized the software integration test last night.
Simple, clear.
The crucial part, the so what. This is where you tell them why it matters, you'd say. The successful integration means we are now 3 weeks ahead of schedule, and we've removed the biggest technical risk for the Q4 rollout.
Oh, okay. That tells everyone in the room why they should care, and then you pivot to the now what.
The now what gives the next step. So you'd finish with, I need 2 of our marketing leads to help me draft the client communication by Tuesday to capitalize on this timing.
Wow. In what, 30 seconds? You've sounded calm, you've been informative, and you've given a clear call to action.
That's the power of the structure.
That makes instant sense.
Yeah.
Okay, what about other high-stakes situations, like a Q&A session?
For Q&A, the sources recommend the ADD format. Answer, detail, describe value.
AB.
Right. First, you directly answer the question, don't bury the lead. Then you provide detail with an example or a story. And finally, you describe the value of your answer specifically to the person who asked. It keeps it relevant.
And what about one of the hardest ones, giving constructive feedback on the spot?
Ah, yes. For that, you need a structure that minimizes defensiveness. It's the I need framework.
2 positives and then the critique.
2 genuine points of praise, followed by the specific change you need. So you're sandwiching the critique with support.
Walk me through that. Say I'm giving feedback to a colleague on a slide deck that was just way too wordy.
Sure. So instead of just saying, Mike, your deck was confusing, you'd use the structure.
Okay.
You'd say, Mike, I like how clear your data visuals were. They really made your main point. And I like the strong conclusion you provided. Going forward, though, I need the supporting slides to have a lot less text, focusing more on visuals.
That's immediately more effective, it's actionable, and it's not personal.
Exactly.
All of these tools, the calmness, the mindset, the structure, they all ultimately point outward, right, to the final principle, which is focus, an audience-first approach.
Absolutely. When you focus on the audience on what they need to hear, it naturally shifts your attention away from your own internal panic. You're always asking, why should they care?
And that focus is crucial even in what we think of as trivial moments, like small talk.
We can't dismiss small talk. It's fundamental. It builds trust. It enhances your reputation by showing warmth. And it's where you find people with similar goals. It's the gateway to every bigger conversation.
And the sources give a first commandment of small talk for mastering those connections.
That commandment is simple. Make it about the other person, not ourselves.
Get them talking.
Exactly. Use supportive responses, show empathy, encourage them to share. If you focus on making the other person feel comfortable and heard, the connection just happens naturally.
And finally, after you've navigated all this,
Yeah.
the tricky Q&A, the networking conversation, how do you end with impact?
You always want to reinforce your key message and thank the person for their time and attention.
Mm-hmm.
For networking, maybe express appreciation for something specific they shared. And then if you want to follow up, ask one last thoughtful question to leave the door open for another conversation.
So this whole deep dive really shows that effective spontaneous speaking comes down to two pillars, doesn't it?
It does.
First, managing your internal anxiety with those mindset shifts, like reframing it as a conversation, accepting good enough is great. And second, using simple structures like what so, what now, what more, to deliver your message with clarity.
The core idea really is that simple. Structure sets you free. It allows you to stop panicking so you can think fast and talk smart.
It's a system for freedom, not a cage.
Exactly. And, we covered a lot, but
Yeah.
maybe the biggest mindset shift these sources offer is cultivating a next play attitude.
A next play attitude.
Yeah, moving beyond mistakes. It prevents you from ruminating on an imperfect interaction. So, a final thought for you to take away is this. If you've just had a spontaneous interaction that you feel wasn't perfect, how might adopting a next play mindset right now change your approach to the very next conversation you have today?
That's a great question to leave with. And if this deep dive helped you realize that structure is the key to unlocking your spontaneous self, please remember to rate and review this deep dive wherever you listen.
Share it with a friend who struggles with Q&A.
And subscribe for more shortcuts to being well informed.